Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about DeAndre Ayton's lack of interest that he has received on the free agent market. DeAndre Ayton was a former number one overall pick that has played in an NBA Finals before as a key piece for the Suns. Despite improving his game consistently, DeAndre Ayton has not received a big-time offer from any NBA team this summer. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Which NBA team will sign DeAndre Ayton in free agency? Alright, so I came up with some candidates in my mind, but I really only have one that I think is legitimate. So, some of those candidates for me include the Orlando Magic, the Detroit Pistons, the Portland Trail Blazers, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Charlotte Hornets. Now, I'm going to go ahead and knock down those four teams that I don't think are really in the running for DeAndre Ayton. The Orlando Magic, I listed them because they're a team that's not really any good and they need some star power. DeAndre Ayton can make them competitive right away. So I think that the Orlando Magic, they could go ahead and sign him. There's a current starting center is Wendell Carter Jr. They need an upgrade. However, I don't think the Orlando Magic are going to end up signing him just because he just doesn't necessarily fit into the current core that the Magic are trying to build right now. So I think the Orlando Magic will ultimately pass up on him. As for the Detroit Pistons, this was a team that I thought was going to be in the legitimate running to land DeAndre Ayton, but I don't think they're going to sign him either just because they drafted Jalen Duren and that they're taking on contracts like Nerlens Noel. I just don't see how somebody like DeAndre Ayton is going to get major play time if you go to the Detroit Pistons. So I don't think they're a legitimate option as well. As for Portland Trail Blazers, I could say them because they do need a center, but they just extended Yusuf Nurkic, a center for them. Look, he's probably not going to be playing too much in there either. They just extended Nurkic, and so that means they're probably committed to him. So I don't think the Portland Trail Blazers are going to sign him. And then there's the San Antonio Spurs. That could be a possibility, except I think that the Spurs are tanking for Victor in the 2023 NBA draft. So I think the Spurs are going to pass up on signing DeAndre Ayton. So that leaves only one team that I think could sign DeAndre Ayton. But this is a team that's over the cap right now, and that is going to be my Charlotte Hornets. I think that my Charlotte Hornets will end up signing DeAndre Ayton because, look, right now the Hornets starting center is not pretty. It's Mason Plumlee. He's a meme. He's not any good. He's terrible at basketball. So I think the Hornets are going to look for a major upgrade at the center position. They're not exactly a team that's prepared to tank right now. This is a team that's on the cusp of making the playoffs. They just need to add a few more pieces around them. And DeAndre Ayton, he's going to be a player that can solve the Hornets' center problems that they've had for quite some time. The Hornets have never had a legitimate center in the last 4 years under the James Borrego era. Now they're going to be getting a legitimate center, albeit with a new coach, a.k.a. Steve Clifford. All right, Steve Clifford, he used to coach the Charlotte Hornets from 2013 through 2018 before he got fired by them. Now he's getting rehired by them. He's going to be 61 when the season starts. All right, we know that Steve Clifford is an old school defensive-minded head coach. I know he says he wants to keep up with the pace, but you can't tell me that Steve Clifford doesn't love big men. He loves big, traditional men, and that's exactly what DeAndre Ayton is. DeAndre Ayton is a traditional big man. There's a reason why he hasn't been signed, despite the fact that he is a walking double-double. DeAndre Ayton, for his career, he's averaged 16.3 points per game. He's getting you 10.5 rebounds a night. That's excellent production in terms of raw numbers. His efficiency's not even that bad either. His last two seasons, he's been shooting around the 63% mark from the floor. And three-point shooting, he's even improved that up to a bit. He's shooting 36.8% from the three-point line, albeit on a very low amount of three-point attempts. But still, DeAndre Ayton has shown signs that he can develop a mid-range jumper at the least. And in Steve Clifford's mind, you know what? That's good enough for him because Steve Clifford, he's all about defense. He's all about slowing the game down. And DeAndre Ayton is exactly that. DeAndre Ayton is a guy that's a traditional big man. He's going to score in the post. He's going to be able to get buckets in the paint. He's going to be able to set screens for his point guards and his shooting guards. And this is a perfect fit for what Steve Clifford is looking for. Now, do I think the Hornets should go ahead and sign DeAndre Ayton? Yeah, maybe. Maybe we should go ahead and sign him. I'll tell you this, though. The Hornets signed DeAndre Ayton, and it's going to be a major upgrade compared to what they've had before, because Mason Plumlee, Cody Zeller, Bismack Biyombo, those guys are not legitimate NBA players in terms of being a legitimate starting NBA center. That's what I'm trying to say. DeAndre Ayton is. DeAndre Ayton's a good basketball player, albeit his numbers probably do overrate him a little bit, but the guy can play. He's not a scrub. He's not trash. He can certainly play. And I think the Hornets have got to go ahead and sign him. He'll bring them credits to the center position. Him and LaMelo will be a good fit together. The only issue with the Hornets is this, though. How are they going to execute the sign and trade? Because right now they're over the cap, and with the Miles Bridges situation hanging over, with the domestic violence and everything like that, that guy just cost himself over $100 million on what he was going to get, probably with the contract with the Charlotte Hornets. So the Charlotte Hornets, they don't got to worry about clearing up cap space to sign Miles Bridges. Now they can go ahead and try to use that space to go ahead and try to sign DeAndre Ayton. It's called a sign and trade. I think that the sign and trade will be a 3-team trade. So I think that it's going to be between the Phoenix Suns, the Charlotte Hornets, and the San Antonio Spurs. All right, so the Phoenix Suns, they're going to get Gordon Hayward, a 2023 first-round pick. It'll be somewhat protected, and a 2024 first-round pick, it'll be swapped. So it could go either way. While the Hornets would just receive DeAndre Ayton, while the San Antonio Spurs would receive Dario Saric, a 2023 second-round pick, and another 2023 second-round pick, either from the Hornets or from the Suns. Who really cares? Look, the point is, the Spurs, they're going to receive some second-round picks. They're going to get Saric as a salary dump so they can clear cap space for 2023. The Hornets, they're going to get a big man that can make an immediate impact for them, that can fit right into the Steve Clifford system. Steve Clifford, he loves big men that can dominate in the post, and that's exactly what DeAndre Ayton is. He is a dream come true for Steve Clifford in terms of what he likes, in terms of his coaching, and that's for the Phoenix Suns. Now, look, I have to admit, this is a bit of a stretch because right now they're in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, and I did say that Kevin Durant would become a Phoenix Sun. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, let's just say that Kevin Durant ends up going to the Miami Heat or anywhere but the Phoenix Suns. So that means they have lost on the KD sweepstakes. DeAndre Ayton and his agent have already said they don't want to return to the Suns unless the Suns give them a max deal, which they're not willing to do, and rightfully so because DeAndre Ayton's not a max player, albeit he's a pretty good player, not max player worthy. All right, so they're going to be able to get Gordon Hayward, a wing player that can certainly serve as a number 3 option. Now, granted, he can't really stay healthy, but if he does stay healthy, he could be a championship piece for the Phoenix Suns. And if he doesn't, well, it's a low-risk, high-reward situation because they're going to be getting 2 first-round picks. A team that's contending like the Phoenix Suns, they need to be able to get draft capital the way that they can because that can serve as valuable assets down the road. So I think that if you get Gordon Hayward and 2 first-round picks in return for DeAndre Ayton, that's certainly more than fair. I could even argue that's probably an overpay for DeAndre Ayton to sign and trade, but I think that it certainly could work out both ways. And if you're the Charlotte Hornets, you need a center desperately, particularly one that can post up so he can fit into the Steve Clifford offense. That's exactly what DeAndre Ayton can do. Maybe he can fit in with LaMelo Ball pretty well. And if you're the San Antonio Spurs, you're taking on a salary dump that can help you clear cap space for 2023, and you're going to get to some second-round picks to sweeten the deal. So that's my 3-team trade proposal. That's what I think could legitimately happen with DeAndre Ayton. So maybe they can make something work out. And look, if the Hornets get DeAndre Ayton on their team, with the price that I just gave you. Look, their starting lineup is going to be consistent of something like Kelly Oubre, PJ Washington, DeAndre Ayton, Terry Rozier, and LaMelo Ball. I mean, look, I'm not going to pretend like that's a stacked team, but it's not a terrible team. That's actually a team that I think could make a playoff run. And they're going to be able to get rim protection, and they're going to be able to dominate in the paint, which is something that Steve Clifford is looking for. And they're going to get Mark Williams off the bench, a guy that's going to be really good at rim protection as well. It's just that the Hornets are just not that talented of a team as of right now. But winning takes time. Winning takes time. You don't build a winning team overnight. That's exactly what you're going to get with DeAndre Ayton. Even if it may look like you're not really moving forward, you are moving forward because DeAndre Ayton is a young center that's still looking to improve his game, and a guy that will continue to improve his game because he's shown improvement in each of his 4 seasons. I believe that trajectory will still continue on the Hornets. As for what price to go and sign him, I'm not really sure, but I would assume that they wouldn't necessarily pay him too much money because of the lack of interest that he has in the free agent market, which I find surprising, by the way. I find that to be really surprising because DeAndre Ayton has played in NBA Finals before. He's shown that he can succeed as a third option on a championship team. And the fact that no NBA team has even reached out to DeAndre Ayton this late into free agency, that's just really surprising to me because DeAndre Ayton is a talented player. It's just that he just doesn't seem to have some of these intangibles that you need in a star player, but that doesn't mean that he should not be offered contracts because DeAndre Ayton, he can play. And I'll say this, if DeAndre Ayton goes to my team, the Charlotte Hornets, this is a team that can end up possibly even winning some playing games. They might even make the playoffs if they can get DeAndre Ayton, assuming that they don't give up too much. If they only have to give up Gordon Hayward and 2 first-round picks, I'd say, you know what? That's worth it. And look, they're going to get a pick swap from the Suns, so it's not even like they're going to be losing out on that many first-round picks anyways. So I think that's a risk worth taking. I'm not saying that it's not a risky move. It is a risky move, but I think it's a risky move worth taking because now the Hornets can get a center that has legitimate credence to an NBA starting lineup at the center position. He's going to give them solid production. So I think this deal works out well for all three sides. So that is why the Charlotte Hornets will end up signing DeAndre Ayton in free agency via sign and trade. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. Like the video and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in a future video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Dustin Tran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter at Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.